just think about using any of these that I'm showing you the way you would use any other beans or meat because they're all flexible and adaptable. And I think some of these will be new to you. But what I want to show you is that how much protein these have. This is just for a 3 ounce serving, not very much. That's again what the same amount that we say to eat if you're eating meat, sort of deck of cards, palm of your hand. Starting with tempeh. Tempeh has 16 grams of protein. This is tempeh. It's in the package still. I'm not shilling for anyone, but this is the most common brand that you'll find out there. It's made out of whole mature soybeans, yellow soybeans that are fermented together into a solid block. It's a very nice alternative to tofu if you want a different texture. It is higher in protein than tofu. It can be marinated or you can put a sauce on it the way you would with tofu, or you can have it plain. It does have a distinctive flavor, so it has lots of probiotics because it's fermented, basically solid beans. Um, it has kind of a nutty flavor. Some people find it a little bit bitter. If so, I would encourage you to kind of poach it first, boil it in water, to kind of rinse some of that off before cooking it. For me, I like the flavor. I tend to like fermented things and bitter flavors as well. But if you're new to it, that might be the challenge. But super high in protein and I put some of the other kind of key nutrition elements here, a good source of calcium as well. So that's tempeh, probably new to many of you. The next thing is probably new to many of you too. This is yuba or tofu skin. And I'll actually take one out. This is a dried version of it. This is made by, so this is what it looks like. Um, Made by skimming the skin off of the top of soy milk. When you're boiling regular milk, it forms a skin on top. Soy milk does the same thing. So this is skimming off that skin, and then it's dried. It's kind of laid out to dry in sheets, and then it's kind of rolled into these for sort of compressibility. But you can't eat it hard like this. You'll break your teeth. You have to rehydrate it. So I just want to show you just soaking in warm water for about half an hour. You get this very pliable thing. This can be sliced into any sort of shape that you want, including a noodle-like shape. So if you're someone who loves noodles but is trying to cut back on refined carbohydrates and want more protein, this would be a great substitute. Um, and I'll be using that as part of what I'm making today. I'm saving what I'm making till the end, so it'll be a little surprise for you. But again, if you look at the amount of protein, again, 3 ounces of this, 13 grams, pretty good source of protein. Okay, going down the list, then we're moving to edamame, green soybeans, young soybeans, which you can buy frozen, already shelled or in the pod, which is how you might have them in a Japanese restaurant as an appetizer. Um, Again, very good source of protein. Also has a good amount of fiber. I didn't list all of that here, but obviously anything made out of beans will have a lot of fiber. And then we have tofu. I've already cut up the tofu we're making tonight. This is firm tofu, which is the kind that I like most. It has that nice combination of creaminess, but also holds together well when you're stir frying it. And you can see it has a good amount of protein, not as much as some of these other things that I showed you, but it's kind of a good standby. I always have a few blocks in my refrigerator. So if you look at all the things I've showed you so far, um, tempeh and tofu, you have to refrigerate, but they last a very long time. The yuba or tofu skin is dry and will last in your pantry literally forever. Edamame will stay in your freezer. And then the last thing, which I'm not showing you tonight, is soy milk. Just to show you that is also a good alternative to cow milk and some of the nutritional benefits of having that. So lots of calcium, lots of protein, and then in the whole forms, lots of fiber. So have more plant-based protein. Very good for you and the environment. And then before we get to the end, this is my last slide. I just want to share with you. It sounds like you also have lifestyle medicine consultations over at the South Asian Heart Center. For At Kaiser, I am the one who provides these lifestyle medicine consultations, but they're actually available to any adult in California, only California, because that's my medical license, either in person with me in San Francisco or virtually, just like this, over a Zoom. And I think you probably have an idea of what the lifestyle medicine pillars are already from having come to these huddles, but a way of providing basically a health treatment and wellness plan for you through the huddles. The other one that I offer, which is unique kind of anywhere because I also went to culinary school, is a culinary medicine consultation and coaching, which is basically making a meal plan with recipes tailored just to you. So with your preferences, your cuisine and flavor likes and dislikes, any food restrictions, and whatever your health conditions are, I provide basically mini cookbook for you that's made of recipes that are there just to help you with your health goals. That's a little bit of a testimonial there that you can see. Um, that I love this because I can really help people in a way that I find very interesting and creative. Anyway, so you're all welcome or share with others who you think might want this sort of service to see me. And there is a little bit of a promotion going on through the end of October. So lucky that I'm presenting to you now. And the phone number is there. And then, okay, finally, the recipe. So this is a picture of edamame growing on the plant, a soy plant right here. I'll be making a stir fry of edamame with tofu skin and oh, I left in the word preserved. I'm using fresh mustard greens today, which I'll show you too. They're Chinese mustard greens, which are different from, I don't know if you use those in Indian food, different from the ones that are sold as mustard greens in the United States. And this will be seasoned with our five spice and and the coconut aminos. And you'll get the recipe later. Okay, so this is just a thank you, how to find me. If you want to hear me talking for, I have to show off. I got to talk to Sanjay Gupta for an hour, just me and him over Zoom on his podcast last year. And that was really great. He's very interested in lifestyle medicine, actually. And so you can take a listen to that. Just Google Joy of Food. That's my episode. What I liked about it, that was part of a series that he did on actually weight loss medications. And then it was all about medication. And then either he or his producers thought, wait a minute, we haven't talked about food at all and why we should actually enjoy food. And I got this phone call, literally early in the morning phone call. Hi, I'm calling from Sanjay Gupta's office. And I was like, is this real? And we're wondering, and they actually said, we've been following your work for a few years. We've been wondering if you'd be willing to spend some time talking to Dr. Gupta. What do you think I said? So anyway, that was a thrill. It was a very interesting conversation because as any of you who follow him, he's a very good interviewer. And so I think we'll have a lot of literally food for thought on how we approach food and what our relationship to food is. And from my perspective, as I've said several times, you should enjoy it. You might need to change a little bit about how you're eating depending on your, current status and how you're eating. But you should always enjoy your food. So I'm going to show you a few more ingredients and then we'll change over to my other camera so I can show you how to cook it. So a couple more ingredients here. I forgot to show you this. This is that five spice tofu that you can buy pre-marinated. It looks like this. It's brown because it's been marinated in five spices, but also they use often caramel color for this. So probably better to make your own, like I'll be making tonight. But you can buy it in any Chinese grocery or Asian grocery, basically. And very tasty, often eaten just as it is, uncooked as a snack. Great for a picnic, for example, or you can put it into a sandwich, put it on a kebab, whatever you like to do with it. So I've shown you lots of different soy foods tonight. I'm going to show you the Chinese mustard greens. Do you eat this one in Indian cuisine?
Uh, w- Dr. Chu, we do have mustard greens, but they look very different from the
Is that
Chinese
right?
mustard greens. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this really is a different variety.
Yeah.
Does the mustard greens that you use in Indian cuisine, is it similar to what they grow here, like in the South?
I am not very sure.
Okay.
You mean south in the US?
Yeah, like this, like
Okay.
basically Southern greens.
No,
Um,
they are grown
Sorry.
from mustard seeds, like funny or spice box.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
probably this, yeah, that's probably the same or similar to the ones that are sold in the States. Yeah, these are
Okay.
very different. And so I'll show you I'm going to take off a piece to show you. So they have this leafy part here, like all greens. This bottom part has this wonderful crunch. It's a little bit sharp. I mean, it is a type of mustard. It has that mustard sharpness. Very crunchy, a little bit sweet, and is great just stir fried on its own or steamed as you would have any greens. But I will be combining it with our soy foods tonight.
Okay.
So that was
So
the last
probably
two.
from the same family.
Yeah, I think the same family of yeah, of mustards, but just a
Right.
different variety. It's a cousin. A little bit
Yes.
of cross-cultural pollination here. Okay, so we're going to pivot over. I'm going to go over to the other camera now and start cooking. So let me just get all my ingredients over there.
Dr. Shu, can you stop sharing so we can just see
Oh,
you
yes,
and the
thank you. Stop share. Okay. And did that, okay, now you can look at my other. Can you hear me? Because I just want to use the audio on one device. I have it, I'm using,
yes, we can hear
We
you well.
can.
okay. Sorry, I just saw a comment in the chat. Is there something the
Oh, we
thing?
are good, Dr. Shu.
Oh, you good? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. So now you can look over here. I know there's this one weird light. Let me see if I can change it. Like the light is changing as, okay, maybe that's better. Okay, I'm going to focus your attention for a little bit here on the ingredients. I'm going to start by making the sauce, which we're going to include at the end of stir frying everything. So this is where we have various of the spices that I showed you already in our slideshow. We have white pepper, which is actually the same as the black peppercorn, but is basically peeled. So it's the inside of a black peppercorn. It ends up having a very different flavor profile. White pepper. Oh, someone is saying they can't see me. Can you see me? It's a different camera from the first.
Yeah,
We can see you.
You
Some
can? Okay. It's the one that just says has Linda Shu with my name, the L and S capitalized.
We can't see what she's preparing the stuff. We cannot see, unfortunately.
Rupal, if you could, if you're on the phone, try to slide your screen because now there are two cameras.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Maybe you should spotlight
Yes,
the
got
one.
it, got it. Thank
You
you.
got it?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
When we slide, yes, we got it.
Very
Okay,
good.
excellent.
Okay, thank you for making sure. Okay, so this is ground white pepper. It's the pepper that's used primarily in East Asian cooking, meaning Chinese and Japanese at least. Very particular flavor profile. This is the 5-spice powder that I mentioned earlier. And then we have some sesame oil and the coconut aminos that I mentioned, and then some rice vinegar. These are pretty classic flavors from the Chinese pantry. So these are all just going to get mixed together, stirred together in this little bowl here. I have a little bit of water in here to help the ground spices combine. I have pre-measured everything, which is in French called doing your mise en place in French cuisine and in restaurant language. And that is just making sure that even if you're just cooking at home and not doing a demo like I'm doing, that you have everything ready so that you're not scrambling and panicked. So we're just going to stir this all together. I'm sorry, I keep getting a few notifications on my screen, so I'm just touching those. Let's see. Okay, good. So I'm just stirring together all those spices, the oil and the vinegar and coconut aminos together until it's well combined, and then we'll let that sit until I add it to what I'm cooking in a moment. No fancy technique here. I just want to show you those ingredients. And then I mentioned aromatics. So I have the garlic and ginger, classic things that go into a stir fry. Ginger, especially if you have organic ginger and you're leaving it, you're not mincing it, you don't care about the texture so much, like I'm using large slices, keep the skin on. There's additional nutrition there, and then you don't lose any of the flavor from it. And then I've chopped the other ingredients. So we have our tofu, the edamame, which if you have it frozen, you want to defrost first, and the mustard greens that I showed you that I've pre-sliced. So now I'm going to pivot you over to the stove. I'm gonna have you keep moving here. It's low tech, but it works. So I'm still here in the same camera, and I'm just going to warm this the pan and add a little bit of oil.
Is there any specific oil that you're using, Dr.
So
Shu?
I'm using canola oil, but any neutral oil, whatever you use for general cooking can work for this.
Okay.
And then you want to heat that up. And the first thing we're going to do is kind of pre-cook the edamame. And so just to heat it up and to kind of tenderize it a little bit before we add the other ingredients. So that's the first thing. Spread it throughout the pan.
I'm glad you mentioned about the organic ginger because the flavor profile of the organic ginger is really beautiful as compared to the regular ginger that you get.
I think so too, yes, right? It's often the younger ginger, which has a different texture and flavor, right? It's much firmer fleshed. And yeah, how would you describe the flavor? What do you think of that?
Ah, well, it's very fresh in a
Yes.
way. I would kind of take it closer to the lemongrass, kind of not to equate it with the lemongrass feel, but but one can understand the freshness of the flavor when you use organic ginger.
Yes, yes. And so for a word on that, people often have a question about organic, not organic, and I would say that for, in terms of nutritional benefit, really not much has been proven that organics are more nutritious. However, it's about the health risk from pesticides, either for yourself or for the farm workers. And so for the farm workers, for sure, benefit of reducing their pesticide exposure through organic. For your own exposure, of course, organic produce can be more expensive. If you're not already familiar with the Environmental Working Group, EWG.org, they have a list of what they call the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen that they update every year. And the Clean 15 refers to things which do not retain a lot of chemicals from growing in pesticides, and you can more safely eat conventional produce that is in the Clean 15. For the Dirty Dozen, those are the things which you want as much as possible to only buy organic. So I would encourage you to take a look at that list. Again, ewg.org.
Got it. Because, there was just a question that was posted on how do we resolve the dilemma between eating, organic and conventional produce. It is expensive, so there needs to be kind of a balance between.
And I see, try growing. Yes, growing. I'm always a wannabe gardener, and I'm just too busy. I haven't made time for that yet, but that is the best, especially tomatoes. There's nothing better than a freshly grown summer tomato. Right now they're pretty fantastic. So either garden or make a friend with a gardener.
Nice. Right.
Okay, so as you can see, I don't think you can hear the sound, but it's nice and sizzly right now. My edamame are nicely warmed up, so I'm going to remove those to the bowl that they came from and cook my other things and then reintroduce that. Sometimes you can keep everything in at once, but if things need to cook to different textures and you don't want to overcook things, often this is a technique that's used, I think, especially for stir fries, of kind of cooking something and then bringing it back. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to cook our mustard greens. So this is the Chinese mustard. There's still a bunch of oil from when I added that, so I don't think I need to add any more now. So you can kind of adjust that depending on kind of what happens when you're cooking there. And we're just going to let this cook for just a few minutes until it's barely wilted, still pretty crunchy. And oops, I forgot. I skipped a step. Sorry about that. The ginger and garlic should have actually gone in first. I'm going to put them in all together. So you do want to put your aromatics in first to bring out their flavor. No big deal here. This is live cooking, so sometimes things go out of order. But you do ideally want to cook your aromatics, whether that is your garlic, your ginger, onions, etc., separately to start bringing out their natural sugars and bring out their flavor. So in this case, it's okay with the ginger. It's going to continue cooking with everything else. Garlic, depending on how big or small you cook it, you want to put in later because it can burn a little bit more easily than things like onions or ginger. In this case, I'm just going to let the ginger and garlic cook for a little bit until literally you can smell their fragrance. That's when you know that they've cooked enough. And they'll continue cooking with our greens and the rest of our ingredients.
Got it. I'm sure it smells fantastic there. I noticed that you didn't put additional oil before adding the greens. So there's some residue oil in the pan. And would
Yes,
that be
there
enough?
was, normally, I had actually put in a little bit more oil than I really needed for the edamame, so there was still adequate oil in the pan. But if your pan is dry, you would add a little bit more before this step. You don't want to do this in a completely dry pan.
Got it.
Okay, so now you
Dr. Shu,
Yeah.
this is Padma Srinivasan. I think I agree with you about all the benefits of organic foods, and that's great. But if people cannot afford or do buy only not organic, they can soak it in baking soda with water solution and remove the surface.
a little bit better.
Yes, they can
Okay, that's
remove that.
great.
And also, you mentioned canola oil.
Oh, sorry, 1 second. I do want to add.
Sure.
I'm going to add the tofu just for a second. So after the greens have wilted, not to be super wilted, just a little bit, then you want to add in your tofu neck. And then so you can go ahead and continue with what you're talking about though now.
Oh, I'm so happy you mentioned canola oil, because canola oil gets a lot of knocks in whoever is talking or speaking. But among the oils, canola oil has the best anti-inflammatory profile.
Yes.
You know, it has better omega-3 to omega-6 and also a high smoke point. Only thing is you have to get the organic canola oil, and you can find that in Whole Foods or Sprouts or whatever, and even Safeway.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing here is that I am cooking the tofu to warm it up. I'm not making it crispy. If you want to learn how to make crispy pan-fried tofu with a minimal amount of oil, you can look at, I have a series of cooking videos that I did for Kaiser. Just look up Kaiser Permanente healthy cooking videos, and it'll show you the technique I use for making crispy tofu with minimal oil. This we're not making it crispy here, just kind of cooking it a bit. There'll be a little bit of browning with it. So the next step here is I'm adding back the edamame, which we had previously pre-cooked. So basically, you can see we have so far 2 forms of soy foods here, as well as our greens. And with the edamame in this, you can barely see the greens. I'm thinking I'd probably double up on what I had there, but you could change the proportions of things here for sure. Now this is the yuba or tofu skin, which I had rehydrated and then sliced into small pieces. When I make this dish, I like to make everything kind of in a very bite size so that you could, everything is a similar size. When you're cooking, sometimes, and I see questions coming, but they disappear from this. So we'll do the questions at the end, I promise. We'll have lots of time. I think it's very important to think about how you cut your food, right? So you can imagine if the tofu were much bigger, it would have very different texture. If I made the greens and the tofu skin in a larger size, it would not actually, you wouldn't eat it the same way. This way, like every mouthful will have equal amounts of the edamame, of the tofu skin, of the tofu and the greens. That's really the idea here. And I think it looks nicer this way too. Okay, so this is continuing to cook. The last part is our pre-made spice mix with the 5-spice, white pepper, our coconut aminos as a low sodium substitution for soy sauce, the sesame oil, and the rice vinegar. It's all combined so that it will actually cook very evenly and flavor this evenly. And we're just going to add this into the end. This is basically the stir-fry sauce. And so, it comes together very quickly, like all Chinese stir-fries do. And so you definitely want to have all of that ready. Otherwise, you won't distribute the flavor evenly. But that's it. Just like that, it's pretty much done. And I'm going to turn it off and bring it up closer so that you can see it. And then we'll start talking about your questions. So how's that look, everybody?
Wow, it looks wonderful, and I'm sure it kind of smells
Yeah,
fantastic
I know.
too.
That'll be
Awesome.
the next development.
Yes.
But you see how simple that is. And again, this has 3 forms of, very, very good sources of plant-based protein in it, which when you eat it, you'll see have very different textures. And it offsets the kind of the sweet spices that are in the 5-spice, and also the sweetness of the coconut aminos is offset by the sharpness of the mustard greens.
That looks wonderful, Dr. Shu. Thank you so much. Can
welcome.
we, can we start taking questions?
Yes.
All right.
Dr.
Okay.
Shu, I just wanted to say that here we are. I'm feeling that you have your dinner ready and we don't.
I do. This is dinner.
It looks lovely. Yeah, we can get started with the questions, Prajakta.
All right. Oh, great. There are a lot of questions. Firstly, what would be some substitutes for the greens, for instance? What greens would go well with this recipe?
Yeah, any
Yeah.
greens, actually. Just like I said when I was going over the food pyramids from around the world,
Mm-hmm.
different cuisines, prefer different greens, or you personally might prefer different greens. I substitute them all the time. So if you like cabbage, you could do cabbage here. It'll just have different
Mm-hmm.
flavor, right? You could do
Mm-hmm.
spinach, you could do kale, collards, chard, and any of them actually in an equivalent amount. Really. So
Okay.
you'll get the recipe, but in terms of amounts here, we had like almost 2 cups of edamame, about a cup of tofu, about a cup of the greens. And so you'll just do the proportions, and you can even adjust those, but really whatever you like or whatever you have or you're growing, it would be fine to substitute it here.
Okay, wonderful. All right. And then about tofu. So how much would be an appropriate consumption for a day? A tofu or any of the other examples of soy that you showed us.
Okay, I think if I'm going to read into this question a little bit, people often ask, is too much tofu or soy dangerous? And could it contribute to any health risks? Some of the things that people sometimes worry about is can it lead to breast cancer because it has plant estrogens in it? Other people, males, often wonder, can it feminize me because it has, again, these plant estrogens, which we call phytoestrogens? And the answer to that is no, they're not actually estrogens. And from those perspectives, no hormonal effects. So isolated soy protein, on the other hand, or soy supplements are so much more concentrated than what is in soy foods, that if you had a concern about any of those things, it would be in that. But that said, most dietitians feel like about a cup of or even sometimes 2 cups of any of these soy things a day is fine for most people. You'll find that they're quite filling because they have fiber and protein. And so I really think because of that, it's virtually impossible to eat an excessive amount of any soy food. But
Okay.
even that said, there's not any evidence that it's dangerous to consume huge amounts of soy food.
Got it. All right. So a cup to 2 cups a day, it should be fine. And how about if somebody has hypothyroidism? Would there be a need to restrict?
With hypothyroidism, probably also not. I mean, some people feel like cruciferous vegetables actually have some concern, but again, these are like huge amounts, which really typically would not lead to any significant health impact. But I would say that, if it's something like your thyroid that you're worried about, and you're making a very big change in the foods that you're eating from day to day, then just to recheck your levels after, a couple of months of making the dietary change to see if you have an adjustment. But I really can't say that I've seen any of my patients have any of those effects from kind of normal consumptions of these foods.
Okay. All right. And how about the digestive properties of soy? How easy or tough they are to digest?
Well, just like, any other bean, if you have trouble digesting beans, you might have trouble with soy. So I would start with small amounts and see how you do with it. But if you can eat other beans, this is not going to be any different in terms of digesting.
Okay. All right. And knowing about Yuba was really exciting. And I'm sure it was new information for a lot of people. Yeah. And we are all eager to try it out. So in which section of the supermarket would you be able to find the Yuba?
So Yuba, you will have to go to either, a Chinese supermarket or a multi-Asian supermarket that, has.
Okay.
Yeah, so like you wouldn't be able to go to Safeway to get it, for example.
Right.
But once you're in an Asian grocery, it will be with the other dried things like sometimes it'll be by the dried noodles, other times it'll be by like the seaweed and some of the dried fruits, like the Chinese red
Right.
dates, those sorts
Yeah.
of things.
Okay. I think I've seen Yuba at Trader's Joe as well, which is a very popular store
Oh,
typically. So
it is
that's
sometimes available fresh. I see someone
okay.
just said in Whole Foods.
Yeah,
Yes,
in Whole
not
Foods. Okay.
always. It kind of depends on your local store.
Okay.
That is, yeah, really tasty. It's actually a little bit different, just like other dried things that get rehydrated. I think the dried yuba is a little bit chewier
Okay.
than the fresh one, but they're both excellent in different ways. So yeah, I just
Okay.
try it out either way, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds like something fun to try over the weekend. And well, how about any low sodium salt substitutes? Would you recommend using those?
Low sodium salt
Mm-hmm.
substitute.
Mm-hmm.
Most of those are, I think all the ones that are meant to be salt are actually potassium. So
Mm-hmm.
just important to know, read your labels no matter what you're buying to know what you're getting, because for some people having high potassium is actually dangerous. And so take a look at that. It doesn't quite taste like salt. I prefer if you're having if what you're looking for is to reduce your salt and even going completely salt free, is that's when you really want to add your flavor for in other ways with spices, with aromatics, and also with and herbs, but also with acidic ingredients like vinegar, like lemon or lime juice. Sour taste can trick your palate into thinking something is saltier than it is. And so that is my best trick. If you're really looking for like kind of that salty taste, it would be with something like that.
Okay. All right. And then speaking of substitutions, although we know that soy is one of the star ingredients in this particular recipe with both the tofu and the yuba, if somebody is allergic to soy, what could be a substitute for that?
If you're allergic to soy, this is not a good dish for you. But
Yeah.
you could take the same idea and do beans and greens. This is basically like a Chinese style beans and greens kind of dish. And you could still, it would be different, but you could certainly, I'm just thinking if you're using, just picking any bean, let's say chickpeas. You could do chickpeas, you couldn't do yuba, but you could do chickpeas and then whatever your favorite green is and still add the same spices and it would be different, but a similar idea. That would work.
Yes. Thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Shu, somebody wants to know your recipe of the garam masala powder, or what's your proportion?
Oh, you mean in the 5-spice powder?
In the 5-spice, yes.
It depends on what you like, honestly. I would say that the spices to kind of keep a little bit lower proportion because they're so strong would be the star anise and clove if you're using it, because those are very strong. So keep those less. But really it's going to depend on what you like. So maybe start with, for the other spices in it, kind of equal parts of those and then half as much of the star anise and the clove. Or if you're not familiar with 5-spice, buy a pre-made 5-spice powder. I mean, it's really just a spice blend, and then you can see what it's supposed to taste like, and then adjust it to your own.
Got it. Yes, I mean even in South Asian households, you typically find everyone has like their own unique
Yes.
recipe, with the spices. So yeah, and then lot of suggestions and kind of their own experiences that they have shared with the greens, like dandelion flowers, and which could be used, dandelion leaves that could be used like mustard greens.
Oh, yes, that's
Um,
really nice. Yes, anything that's kind of bitter or sharp
mm.
would work very well here.
Got it. All right. And then could we talk a little bit about the cooking utensils? We noticed that you have this beautiful big pan, and um, what's your opinion about non-stick cookware or any preference of specific cookware?
It's sort of like depends on what you cook most of the time and like how much. So no matter what, if you're doing like a stir fry, I actually don't use a wok a lot of the time. It's too big.
Mhm.
But that's like the classic for stir frying. But you do want a pan that is wide enough so that you get high heat for all your ingredients. Otherwise, you're going to steam. And when you're stir frying something, you want heat to be touching everything like pretty rapidly and evenly. So
Mhm.
that is important. It does not necessarily have to be non-stick. For
Mhm.
nonstick things, I like things that are anodized. Normally, that's a more durable coating.
Mhm.
And definitely all nonstick these days is supposed to be, free of PFOA, free of those things which are carcinogenic. But cast iron, seasoned cast iron, if you're looking for
Mhm.
something nonstick, is a great substitution for that. But certainly just regular stainless steel, heavy
Mhm.
clad stainless steel is a
Mhm.
pretty good all-purpose thing, except the only thing you ever really need nonstick for is if you're cooking, I would say eggs. Most other things you
Yeah.
don't really need nonstick for.
Got it. All right. And then one thing to add to that, what is suggested is as soon as you see any scratches on your nonstick,
Yes.
then to kind of discard those pans and
Yep.
move on to another one. Okay. All right. So there's one question on, so we got so much information about spices and their health benefits. What other foods or herbs would you recommend for reducing general chronic inflammation? They specifically said that when they did their blood work through the South Asian Heart Center, their inflammation markers were slightly high. So anything for that?
So there is actually, some many variations. Something called the anti-inflammatory diet, and Dr. Andrew Weil, Weil, who's kind of one of the founders of integrative medicine in this country. If you look up his name, he goes over the anti-inflammatory diet pyramid. However, an anti-inflammatory diet is basically a plant-based diet
Hmm.
with little to no sugar, added sugars in it. Some of the specific things besides general vegetables and fruits would be mushrooms. Mushrooms are considered to be anti-inflammatory, but
Okay.
really eating mainly plants, mostly plants, and cutting out on sugar and alcohol. That's an
Mhm.
anti-inflammatory diet. As for herbs, pretty much all herbs count as plants, right? They're also plants. They happen to
Mhm.
have a very high density concentration of a lot of antioxidants, which tend to be very anti-inflammatory. So any herb that you like, really, that's a great way of adding both flavor, adding fiber, and getting a lot of antioxidants.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. You mentioned something about your kitchen garden earlier. So what's your favorite herb to grow?
No, I said that I'm a failed gardener.
Oh, okay.
But
All right.
the last time okay, what would I grow if I were good? I mean, herbs are supposed to be very easy, but I'm in San Francisco where the problem is not really even the temperature or my forgetting to water. It's very windy. So
Hmm.
that's the trick here. But my favorite herbs like that I have around all the time, basil, cilantro, mint, thyme. I mean, I like all of them.
Mhm.
I I actually love what I would love to grow, but I think it's quite difficult to grow here are curry leaves, right? For making
Ah,
like it's like a
all right.
Carolyn. Curry leaves are in
Mhm.
everything. I
Yeah.
love curry leaves.
Yeah.
And all of these, they're all slightly different. I like thyme also. They all
Yeah.
have particular active ingredients and antioxidants. And so pretty much
Yeah.
all of the above. Oh, rosemary too. Rosemary is the only
Yeah.
one I grow because it is a weed. Basically, you can't
Yes.
kill rosemary. So that is
Yes.
the only herb I have growing right now.
Okay. All right. Well, nice. Well, there are curry leaf plants available in the in some of the Indian stores right now. So in case if you'd like one, and I think just one trick that I remember from the curry leaves is that they need a lot of sunshine and heat. So in the winters, you have to kind of take
Uh,
it inside the
ah,
house and keep them sheltered or like cover it with plastic. And
oh, wow.
that's they like to be warm and you know, like hot and warm, really.
They
So
want to be back in India.
they want to be back in India, right? Yeah. All right. Let me see. Couple other questions. Well, there was one question on would microwaving work initially when you were showing how to cook the beans.
Yeah.
Um, would
Yeah,
yeah.
you can microwave the edamame, you can boil them,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't microwave the rest of this though. You really do need to
Mm,
stir fry it. So,
yes.
no one said this yet, but I know some people don't like to cook with oil. You could do
Mm,
this with, broth or water as well. It wouldn't be quite the same, but it could work. Just make sure you have some direct heat on it, as opposed to just microwaving it.
okay. All right. Um, and then well, I think I've addressed most of the questions. Um,
Great.
anyone, if there's anything that I have missed,
I'm
I
gonna
know.
come back to the main screen. You can look at the
Okay,
feed, but I've been
all
just
right,
talking to my own pictures.
all right.
Yeah, any other questions, anybody? Here I am again.
Yeah. Well, I had one question. Earlier you said for cooking with tempeh. I've tried to cook with tempeh and it was not easy.
Hmm.
The flavor profile was quite strong to cook with. And you said that you could try,
Like,
cooking and draining
yes, you
the
can
water.
boil, you can basically poach it, put it in boiling water, just to
Okay.
kind of rinse off some of that fermented taste,
Hmm.
really. And
Hmm.
then after that, cook it as you would have. I mean, it does not have to be, you can actually eat it just like tofu without cooking it.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll get rid of some of the flavor that way, and you might prefer it that way. The other
All right.
thing that I will often do is kind of toast it in a dry frying pan, no oil. Some people will fry it, pan fry it. I think the pan frying actually, because I had some recently that way, probably takes away the most flavor. It doesn't have to be a lot of oil, just a tiny bit of oil
Hmm.
like I used in the stir
Hmm.
fry, and
Hmm.
cook it until a little bit crispy on each side. I think that would help.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then would you share with us the five spice powder again, like the all the ingredients that go
All
in
the
it?
ingredients for the five spice powder. So it really does depend on, but let me see if I remember all of them now. So star anise, clove, cinnamon, fennel, and I'm always forgetting one. Hold on, let me look at my list here. Did I write it down?
Uh, Saroja is asking, was there some coconut item in the five spice?
No, no,
Sichuan
coconut,
pepper,
White pepper.
Sichuan peppercorn.
White.
pepper. Oh yeah, thank you. I knew, and I just talked about that. Sichuan peppercorn. Those are the
Okay,
typical ones, but people sometimes swap out other things, but those are the main flavors there. So you can get the idea that it's supposed to be peppery and a little bit sharp
got it.
and a
All
little
right.
sweet.
Okay. And the coconut thing was coconut aminos, if I
Coconut
remember correctly.
aminos,
Yes.
as a soy
Yes.
sauce substitute.
Okay. So are all the ingredients in the five spice powder ground into powder and combined?
Yes.
Would
Yeah,
improve
just like
the
you would with
sulfur.
any
Yes.
other spice blend.
Okay. All right. And yeah, each one has a wonderful property to itself. Fennel is really good for digestion, and
Yes.
cinnamon is good for balancing some blood sugar levels as well. So that's good too.
Yeah, I mean, don't you think it's pretty much, except for the Sichuan peppercorn, pretty similar to garam masala in
Hmm.
flavor
Hmm.
profile?
Yes. Yes. So
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's gonna enjoy that.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
so.
yeah.
Where would we find Sichuan peppercorn?
In a Chinese grocery, possibly in, like a place like Whole Foods too, but might be hard. So, or any spice shop actually, like a general spice store would have it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Well, I yeah, I think Ashish,
You've
we've
covered
covered
all
all
the
the
questions.
questions, right?
Yes, I think you have
Okay.
done a
Terrific.
great job. And
Thank
Dr.
you.
Shu, as always, it's been so illuminating. I love how you bring in the spice in your discussions to add spice to our lives. And I just wish I was there with you to taste what you have done.
I
Um,
know it's all mine. Sorry. But you can
and
cook it.
the other thing that Prajakta was mentioning, was, we can see the visual, but what we miss out is on the aroma and the smells
Hmm.
and all of that sort of a thing. So I hope, these technologists will figure out how to get that over Zoom to all of
And
us.
it seems like they do much more challenging things, so it seems like it could be possible in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I see everyone's kind of racking their brains to take this opportunity to ask as many questions as possible
Yeah.
to Dr.
Go ahead.
Shu.
We have still got some
So,
time.
yeah, so any specific type of seaweed that is superior with fewer toxins than the rest?
Seaweed. Well, the toxins only come about because of our agricultural and fishing practices and
Mm,
industrial. So otherwise, no, I mean, I think things are supposed to be, they are labeled like kelp, for example, kombu, which is one of the
mm,
more common ones that you'll find,
mm,
will be labeled on, if it is known to have heavy metals like lead in it. But it's a tricky thing, actually. I don't know that it's labeled that carefully yet. So just kind of in general, just like with even rice, right? We talk about having whole grains. Brown rice takes up a lot of arsenic and other heavy metals as well. Rotating your amounts of things is probably
mm.
important. And when something can be rinsed, rinsing it is important to do as well. So that goes for rice. That goes for if you're making if cooking seaweed, you'll want to rinse that well as well.
Okay, all right. And then with tea leaves, we are blessed with such wonderful variety of tea leaves in all of Asian cuisines, right? So, any particular variety that you would recommend for general antioxidant health? What are your thoughts about matcha and the way matcha has kind of taken over, especially with the younger generations?
I know there's like a shortage now because it's gotten trendy on TikTok.
Yeah.
Green tea actually is thought to have the most benefit in terms of antioxidants because
Mhm,
I think because it's not oxidized, right? So all
mhm,
tea leaves are the same, but they go through a process of from the most fresh tea leaves to green teas, which are lightly steamed and or oxidized to darker tea, black tea. And so green tea in general, which includes matcha, is thought to have the most antioxidants.
okay. And then, do you recommend any specific brand of fine mesh strainer and what size?
Oh, I don't know the brands.
Hmm.
I you just want to I know people buy a lot of things online, but you can't feel it. So I would say if you're going in person to buy it, like I've bought them in places like, Ross, discount stores too, which often are good for gadgets. Just
Mhm.
make sure it feels pretty heavy and is solid and that the mesh won't separate it and that it's stainless steel. But otherwise,
Mhm.
it's a simple product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any specific herbal teas for cold, cough, and sore throat?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Actually, what I usually make would have ginger and turmeric in it.
Got it.
Um, Sometimes other things, but really more for flavor. And then I'll put
Yeah.
some fresh lemon juice in it,
Okay. All
maybe a
right.
little
Ginger.
honey.
Yeah. Yeah. Ginger and lemon,
Yeah.
and turmeric it is. All right. Okay. Well, if if there are any more questions, do feel free to kind of share with us if you remember anything. We could always email Dr. Shu. And other than that, well, thank you so much, Dr. Shu, for your time today and sharing your expertise and passion with culinary medicine. We learned so much. Plant-based
Okay.
cooking seems so delicious and easy to kind of
That's my
do
whole
at
point.
home.
Yes, yes. So thank you again for having me. It's fun. I love this very engaged audience. I think you really have something very special here on this huddle, because people always are very interested. So yes, I'll be happy to come again. Everyone, please check out my cookbook. Literally, you can get it from the library if you want, Spicebox Kitchen. And if you're interested in actually, this is kind of idea, like answering the question of how do I make this food that is good for my health taste good for what I like to eat, come and see me or send somebody to see me for a culinary medicine consultation. I'd be really happy to help you.
So Dr. Shu, I just wanted to let you know, as I mentioned earlier, that our 20th anniversary of the South Asian Art Center is happening next January.
Ah.
And would you be available for the Thursday huddle in January, which will
Look,
be
you're asking me this publicly. I'm
the
concerned that I'm not, but why don't you send me the dates and information and I guess it's always the same. It's a third.
it'll be amazing to kick off our anniversary with the huddle with you.
We shall see. I'm afraid I might not be because it's right before my big conference of every year, which is the Healthy Kitchens Healthy
Oh,
Life,
okay, got it.
which is the
Okay.
first week of February. But send me an email
Yes, I will do so.
and I will think about that. Is that going to be an in-person thing or?
No, it's still going to be a huddle like that. And we
Okay.
can be flexible a little bit in terms of the date. We normally like to have it on the last Thursday of every month.
Mm.
So it would be the end of January. And I understand that, it's you're
Yeah, that
preparing for
probably
that
would be
thing.
quite challenging. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, so I'll send you an email and we can kind
Okay.
of see when it will work. But I do want to feature you in our 20th anniversary
Oh, that's great. I'm
celebration.
so excited for you. That's wonderful. Yes. And did I send you this recipe or not before?
No, so
Okay,
it'll be
I'll send
great
it
and
to
I
you so
can
that you can share it with everybody.
share it with everybody. Excellent.
Okay,
Thank you very
wonderful.
much.
Thank you.
Great to have you on board and we'll see you soon.
Okay, have a good night, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.